Hey, it's Carl, and tonight's another after hours aquascaping session. I have this these two aquascapes on the bagging station here in the store, and there's my little tiny Iogumi. You've probably seen the video for that. And I do have this 12-inch cube, which I scaped this, I don't even know anymore, 3 or 4 years ago. And there's a video on that build on the channel too, but it was just tired. I had looked at it long enough. It had been set up a long time. It needed to be redone, so got it. So I've stripped it all down right to nothing basically, and I am going to rebuild it using Dragonstone. Now, Dragonstone is something I haven't worked with in a very long time, so I'm kind of excited to do this. I'm also going to try not having a matted front. I'm going to use sand and detail stones. I'm going to try and make these Dragonstones work. Again, I like to go in with a loose idea of what I'm going to do, but nothing's firmed up. Until I really get these rocks together, I won't know for sure what it's going to look like. And then from there, I'm going to see if I need some wood or if I need different kinds of plants. I just got a fresh plant order in, so I got lots of variety of plants. It is going to have CO2. It is going to be heavily lit. So yeah, lots of options for plants, but I'm going to move it up to the workroom now. We'll get the substrate in there. We'll get these rocks placed where I think they're going to work. Then we'll decide what kind of sticks and planting and things like that we need from there. So let's get it up there and we'll see how this works out. Alright, so there it is. I did put a new background on it. I put this like a gray vinyl cling on the back of it. Looks really good. It used to have just like a dark black paper one. It was kind of ugly. So this is going to brighten it up quite a bit. And again, it's just like a vinyl window cling that I put on there with the soapy water. You put on the soapy water, you put on the vinyl, and then you just kind of squeegee out all the air bubbles. And yeah, I think it's going to look good. So I got my rocks, so let's get some substrate in here. So. Okay, well I kept some of the biostratum. This is a fluval biostratum. I took some out of another planted tank, so this is used. I might need some more, so I do have a great big open bag of it here, but I really like the biostratum because it's a little bit smaller pieces and it seems to plant just a little bit. It's a little easier to plant it anyway, so I have some extra, but I want to use up what I have already first. That's already been used, so let's get these rocks out of here. Try and keep them, the idea. So yeah, I'm just going to throw it all in there. So I don't want it up at the front so much. I want this back corner to be the highest spot. And then yeah, again, I'm going to pull it all back from the front glass. I really don't want any up there. There, that gives it good height. I wanted the height like that and the different levels. Yeah, I don't know. Let's have a look at that. I don't know. I think I'm going to leave that one out. So I think I'm reasonably happy with the Dragonstone layout right now. I am going to go with the sand. This is the Estes Premium Aquarium Sand. It just calls it beige. It's called beige sand. Nothing special, but I really like the color of this and the texture of it. I think it'll blend good with the Dragonstone. I'm going to try and bring it up a bit through here. I'm just going to get it a little more shaped. I really want more of a slope. I think I need some more sand on that side because some of the biostratum is trying to sneak up through. And yeah, we got to brush all the sand off. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I don't know if I can still... If that's not too symmetrical. I don't know, what do you think? I'll add some detail stones and stuff later, but I think, yeah, I think that's okay. Now gonna find some pieces of wood. Might fill in this here with, get some twigs coming out of here. Yeah, we'll see what we can find. I feel like I can just jam that in. It might actually stay where I put it. Get that hooked under the rock a little. Oh yeah, yeah. This one I might have to glue. I don't know. Let's see. I kind of feel like those are gonna stay put. Alright, so I've added a few twigs in there as well. I don't want to get too busy because I want lots of plants, so I think the two that I just jammed in there, I think they're going to stay by themselves. So just grab some super glue gel and I am going to stick the stick that piece of wood to that piece of Dragonstone. So I think I'm pretty happy with this. I think it'll fill in a lot. I want to fill it in with a lot of plants. So I want to keep the hardscape kind of simple. Here you can see how the layers. So I have lots of sand on top of the aqua soil. Now those roots are going to reach down into the aqua soil and get the nutrients from it like that. But yeah, you can see how it's all capped off so the aqua soil can't escape and roll around on top, which I suppose eventually it will do anyways. But there, pretty simple. But again, we're going to dress it up with lots of plants, so I think it's going to look really good. I have some detail stones and stuff I'll put in yet, but I got to go figure out what kind of plants I'm going to plant this with. So let's go look at some plants and pick some out. So here's a couple things I've grabbed and put together so far. I just took apart that pod of Eleocharis parvula. Now that's like a taller hair grass type plant. I got a few bunches of that. This is some Eleocharis pusilla. And that was from the old tank that I tore down, but it's like a dwarf type hair grass. It's quite a bit shorter than the other one. I think between the two, they'll have the same texture, but different heights. It'll kind of look good. I grabbed this little lotus. I know it's probably way too much for that tank, but at least I'll get it started in there. It's just a little sickly little baby that we can probably nurse back to health that way. I want a stem plant at the back, and I really like Atra because it's Rotella rotundifolia Atra, and it looks very green now, but it ends up being very, very pink, and I think that'll be a nice background with the tall stems like that. A couple little of Bucephalandras, that's Ketagang, Bucephalandra, a couple of Nubius, and then a couple little Cryptocorynes, Parva, I believe this one is, and there'll be a nice little foreground plant. So I'm going to stick those in the tank and see how it looks, and then we'll decide if we need more from there. So this Atra, this stem plant Atra, I'm going to just open it up. Just going to break it up into little clumps, maybe about so big, and just going to plant them as clumps like that. And again, this is going to turn into a really beautiful pink stem plant. And anytime I've used it before, it grows quite readily. It'll take a little bit to get started because we are starting with a tissue culture. But once it starts, I'll be trimming it back all the time. And with the bright light and the CO2, it's going to be a really good bright red, pinky color. So yeah, what do I got? 6 bunches there. That'll be enough to cover up the back. So I'm just going to spray down the substrate, get it all kind of wet, just because it'll plant better that way. So I'm just using bunches of Atra around that size. And I'm just going to stick them in the back here, just to get this filled in. I'm going to plant them pretty deep. I'm going to plant them pretty thick too so they fill in quicker. I know it's hard to imagine what this is going to look like, but I really like these red accents at the back. I think it's going to be really, really good. Next I'm going to take a clump of this hair grass. I'm going to stick it right in the middle here. It's going to stay a little lower than the Atra will be. So, and again, I don't like symmetry per se in these tanks, so I'm going to kind of plant a couple bunches of it. And I planted it really deep down into the, so the roots will reach down into that substrate there. Then a couple of little clumps of this shorter stuff kind of in front of it. And I think that'll give it a good kind of a layering texture kind of thing. And again, these will root down nice and deep. Oh, it's got a bunch of Monte Carlo in it. Better get rid of that. Again, got that planted pretty deep. So next up I have a couple of those little Cryptocrine parvas, and I want them at the front because they're going to stay nice and short and shallow. So maybe right up front here. So before I get too far, I'm going to add a few detail stones, kind of spruce it up a little bit. There's some little chips and stuff. Looks like it's kind of spilled down the hill. Now I'm going to try this Anubias. I'm going to actually glue them back here on a piece of rock. And again, with the red coming up behind it, I think it'll be a nice accent. I'm going to keep it trimmed back pretty tight. I don't want it to get too out of hand, but I'm just going to put a glob of glue on top of the rock here. Just a pretty good ball of it. Just stick him down in there. And that will dry pretty quick. And I got another little tiny one here. I'll just put another ball of glue. I like to put the glue on kind of flat surfaces because if I ever redo it or reuse these rocks, I can easily just scrape it right off. The sickly little lotus, I'm going to stick him right at the base of this rock here. We'll see how he does, see if he can come around. He'll look different once the water's in there, but we'll add some color and some different shaped leaves. I'm just going to jam this Bucephalandra in here. Hopefully it stays. Usually if you kind of get them wedged in a little bit, they stay, and then eventually it'll stick on its own. It'll adhere itself to the rock. See how that does. So this is going to be a work in progress for sure. It's I'm not 100% sure I'm happy with all of it. There's some plants I have in mind now that it's going. Now that I have it kind of set up, there's some plants I have in mind that I'd like to put in here. I just don't have right now, and of course I get plants in all the time. So as these plants trickle in, I probably will put some more different types of plants in here. I may change some of the existing plants out and maybe put a few more things in. I think this is going to take a while to grow in, this one, but I think as it grows in, it's going to look really good. But for now, I just want to get it some water in it, get it set up and running, and let it start to fill in. And then, again, it's going to take a few weeks, maybe a month or so, before it's kind of looking the way I want it, and then I'll show you the finished product. But let's get some water in it, see how it looks now, and then we'll let it grow in. And yeah, definitely this tank's going to evolve over time for sure. All right, well, I think that's it. Everything's running now. I've got the lights on, I got the filter running, got the CO2 set up on there. I think this tank has some potential. I'm really starting to like this tank. Again, when you're winging it like this, sometimes you just don't know. It could turn out pretty terrible. I think we're going to do okay on this one. There is a few plants I do want to add in when they come in, but yeah, pretty happy. This is looking good. Now that everything's running, I'm going to give you a good look at the tank as it sits right now. Probably tweak it over the next couple weeks, and then I'll show you the B-roll of the finished product. Once it's grown in and I'm happy with it, then I'll show you the finished product. So it's probably going to be about a month from now anyways, but I'll show you how it looks right now. So there it is. I'll just go over the parts again. So there's the ISTA lighting, the Aqua Slims. That's the little Aquael micro filter in the back corner there. And then my Hodgepodge CO2 is back in here. So you can see the ISTA regulator, fluval tank. That's a fluval bubble counter there. The ISTA one-way valve right there. And then my favorite part, of course, is diffuser. Look at that, nice fine bubbles already. Just looks good in the tank. Really like it. So yeah, here's the look. I added some detail rocks to the front there. You can see the crypts at the front, all the two different types of hair grass in the back, the lotus, the anubias on the rock, and then you can't really see them, but back in behind all the rocks is all those clumps of the Rotella atra. And once that grows up, it'll look really good, but I don't know, what do you think? I think it's going to change a lot over the next couple of weeks, but let's revisit again in a month or so. Alright, well it's been about 6 weeks now and the tank's looking fantastic. Really starting to feel in good now. And getting some color, getting some good growth. The Cryptocrine parva, they're expanding a little bit. The leaves are getting bigger on that. The hair grass is filling in really nice. You can tell the different species by the color a little bit, but it does give you the nice texture of the shorter stuff up front, taller stuff at the back. The anubias is looking awesome. It's added a couple leaves already. And then the Rotella atra. Look at the color in this. It's really coming on nice. I wish it'd fill in a bit faster, and it's coming, but the colors are great. The fine leaves, it's just looking really good. Blixa japonica, that was an add-in after the fact, and it's growing up nicely, looking good. The Bucephalandras have added some leaves, and they've stuck to the rocks really good, so they're looking nice. Of course, the CO2 helps with all that. The CO2 is working really good. And I stocked it with some swamp guppies. These are the red swamp guppies. Amazing little fish. Lots of color, very active. They look great in this tank. And some red Rilly shrimp. And I actually put a couple buried ones in there. And so now I've got babies all through the tank, and they're expanding quickly. The population's booming in there. The floaters are kind of getting out of hand. I'm going to have to thin them out a bit, but I did put in some red root floaters and then some salvinia, and they are expanding quickly, almost blocking too much light. But yeah, as you can see, the tank's looking great. The colors are really great in the tank. Just loving it so far. So yeah, it's going to look even better in another 6 weeks. So I hope you enjoyed that build video. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out, and I think once the atra build grows up at the back there, it's going to look even better. So yeah, again, I hope it inspires you to build something like that for yourself. I hope you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this and product reviews and fish unboxing, all that kind of stuff. So be sure to subscribe, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.